I knew a guy that had been held up at the local mall. He had been robbed. I knew a few other people that had gotten into trouble with the law. So it was a little bit of it was rough going during that time. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I am Myra. On this channel, I talk about family care to self-care and everything in between. I have this towel on my head because I just wet my hair. I didn't wash my hair, but I did give my hair a good rinse. Because the style I'm going to do today requires, sometimes it feels so good to just scratch your scalp, yeah? Just massage it and scratch it. Yeah, the style I'm going to do today obviously requires my hair to be damp. That's how the style is going to stay. And it's going to be corkscrews, so it's twists. So I'm going to take my hair and I'm going to twist, but you're going to see how I'm going to do this. So before I begin, I always start by oiling my hair, moisturizing the hair. There we go. My hair is nice and damp, but it is not sopping wet. When I do this style, I normally do this style for my daughter Keegan. What I'm going to do here, so I'm just gonna take, I think I have like four locks, and I'm gonna wrap 2 around each other. So right here, just gonna wrap it around. There we go. And then I'm gonna take another lock and wrap it and just work my way down. And that's all I'm going to be doing, is working my way down. Just like this. There we are. And then the last one, I'll wrap over everything. And then get my rubber band. And that's it. All right, we'll do the next one. When I was in my late teens, I worked at my local rec center at the snack bar. So I was lucky enough to greet all those hockey parents on Saturday mornings when I'd get there at 6 o'clock in the morning, because they had been there at 5 and they needed their coffee and they needed it now. So usually the shift just required one person, but if it got really busy, especially like Saturdays, there'd be 2 of us. And we saw all kinds of characters. Saw the kids that were screaming because they wanted donuts at 7 o'clock in the morning, and the moms that would give in. Didn't understand it then, but I get it now that I'm a parent. Why they gave in. One day, a woman came to the counter, older white woman, and I happened to be working with a young white girl. She had one of these double names, like Anne Marie, Kelly Sue, these kinds of names. Anyway, we'll call her Mary Sue. So Mary Sue and I had been working together, and she was going on a smoke break. So as this woman came to the counter, Mary Sue turned to me and said, "Hey, Myra, I'm going on my smoke break." I said, "Oh, okay, I'll see you." She was still in high school, so she was young. So I said, "No problem." And I proceeded to take this woman's order. Once my coworker was out of earshot, this woman turned to me and said, "Pretty girl." And I said, "Oh, yeah, no, she's a very pretty girl." And then she was a very pretty girl. She goes, "Yeah, too bad it won't last." I said, "Excuse me?" She goes, that beauty of hers, if she continues smoking, it's going to go, because that smoke is going to take it all away. She's going to look old before her time. She's going to look aged, and her skin is going to look haggard. I was like, oh, okay. And these are the kind of characters that we met. I had doubled some of my locks a little while ago. I found them too thin. So I doubled them, and every once in a while they will unravel. So I'm just retwisting it. And the way I doubled my locks was just by twisting them. Eventually they will stay together. That is the plan anyway. They've actually not done a bad job of staying together, but every once in a while they try to get away from each other. But I have interlocked them from the top, so they do stay up here, right? So they're not getting that far away from each other. Even at a rec center, you get regulars. These are people who, when they see you're open, they are right there to purchase whatever it is you have, but they're there consistently. So I had a few of those. And one notable guy was, let's call him Gary. Gary started coming to the snack bar. At first it was just, oh, okay, so I would see him once in a while. Eventually it became a regular thing. And he wasn't a bad-looking guy. He was a young black man. The one thing I did notice about him was that he was always dressed. He was always dressed well. You know, a nice shirt and the jeans and his shoes. He didn't wear runners. He always had on like dress shoes. I noticed that. But he looked good. He would take a loonie. And of course, so I live in Canada, so every Canadian knows what a loonie is. It's our $1 coin. And he would slide it across the counter and he would just say, "1 Dutchie, please." For those who don't know what a Dutchie is, it's a honey bun, right? It's a honey bun. It's a bread and it has icing on it. So he would slide it to me. And this became our thing. So as soon as I saw him coming, I knew to get the honey bun ready. He always liked it warmed up. The area had seen its fair bit of trouble. I know I knew a guy that had been held up at the local mall. He had been robbed. I knew a few other people that had gotten into trouble with the law. So it was a little bit of it was rough going during that time. But I had my job at the rec, and I had my regulars, and I had Gary and the honey bun. Carabana came through. Carabana is the Caribbean festival that happens in Toronto. So Carabana came through. And I don't know if I went that year. I don't think I went that year. But it had come and gone. I was still working at the rec. And I wasn't seeing Gary anymore. He had stopped coming. And believe it or not, I'd gotten used to seeing him. Because, you know, you get a rapport with your customers, right? Funny, we didn't talk much. That's one thing we didn't do. But I knew what he wanted. And I always had it ready for him. And that was the honey bun. So I didn't see him anymore. And I thought that was it was odd, but it wasn't a big thing because people come and go, right? People are always passing through. So to keep my hair damp while I do it, that same hair oil I have, I put it in a spray bottle and then I add some water. And it becomes my daily hairspray. It's funny, everybody in the house actually uses this spray. Just adds moisture to the hair and keeps the hair soft and conditioned. If your locks get brittle, they will start to break. So it's important that you keep your locks hydrated. Locks love hydration. I was saying I was no longer seeing Gary. Gary had stopped coming by. Summer turned to fall and still no Gary. And I thought, well, I'm sure he will eventually turn up. I'm sitting at home and, you know, it's really nothing to watch, whatever. When you're bored sometimes, you pick up the newspaper. Back in the day, you know, you read the newspaper, so newspaper was lying around. It was an old newspaper, so it wasn't anything current. And I'm just flipping through it and reading it. Nothing really interesting is catching my eye, but I'm going through whatever. And I come across an article, and it was about Caravana. So it hadn't happened at the actual parade. It had surrounded Caravana, like in the evening or whatever. There had been a shooting. So I kept reading the article just for interest's sake. And then they mentioned the name of the person. And then I saw the picture of the individual who had been killed. A young man had been killed. And I saw who had been killed. And when they showed the picture, it was Gary. Gary had apparently been targeted and had been murdered. So that explained why I wasn't seeing him anymore. Yeah, that's what happened. The article went on to say that he was a drug dealer and he was a criminal and he had been wanted by the police and blah, 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 blah. The only side I ever saw of him was the polite honey bun / Dutchie loving side. He never came across as anything more, anything less, but that's humans, right? I guess we all wear two faces, sometimes 3 or 4, and this obviously was a side of him which I guess I didn't need to see. But that's what it is with life and humans. We will show people what we want them to see, right? And so, yeah, that was the part I saw of him. The other part I read about. Oh, here we are. The hair's all done. Give it one last spritz. Remember, locks love moisture. They love to be hydrated. And I have my coils all done. Here I am. I'll keep this in probably for the next week or so. Really allow the hair to set. And that's it. I'm sorry if story time was a little bit heavy today. Just, when you retell a story, you relive the emotion, and sometimes that's a good thing. You let it out, right? So I guess I did that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Remember, if you like this video, click that like button, hit that subscription, and click on that notification bell. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.